Good afternoon, everyone. Again, um, this is Bana Leadership Series, Tulumane Talks. So, Nanu, me, Sian, so Sadu Shetty is going to facilitate the session today. So, as you can see, the forum name has combination of Tulu, Kannada, and English in it. But majority of the attendees, especially young bunds from Bana, may prefer English. So, we'll use English for today's session. But it is all right if any of the attendees or people from India or other places want to ask questions or follow up in Tulu, Kannada, or Hindi, feel free, no issues at all. So we will provide contact details at the end. It will be an hour session, so we will have time at the end for to ask questions. So now today's session is with our own Dr. Anup Shetty. He's in the Bana National Board. He's a cancer survivor, successful physician, executive author. His latest book, you can see, The Power of Infinity. We'll go deep into that. He's an educator. He's an expert in dialysis. He has been speaking at the American Society for Nephrology. So National Kidney Foundation, Dialysis Conference, and interesting enough, Academy of Yoga and Meditation. So again, he received multiple awards, Tips Physician of the Year Award in 2018, and so forth. And another interesting fact, he is the author of the book Hinduism Simplified. So it's I'm reading it from the book. Okay. So look into that. Now, more than these achievements, my observation of him from my few interactions is that he is a soft-spoken leader with the deep-rooted beliefs and spiritual side. He's a keen supporter of arts and culture, especially Yakshagana events, so meditation and yoga events. So we will cover his life lessons, insight into achieving happy and healthy lifestyle. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Anup Shetty. Namaskar, Anup. Thank you for agreeing to this event. So, all of you, thanks for joining. If you want to pick up coffee or something to listen to the next hour, please do so. And let us start. Anup, can you give us a brief synopsis of your journey growing up in India and your transition to the United States? Can you give us some background?
Sure. Since this is hosted by Bana, I'll tell my roots. But before that, thanks to you, Sadhu, and thanks to Mahesh and the Bana leadership for bringing me here. And I come from Munkur. In Tulu, we say Munder. I'm from Munder Nella, Munkur Doddamane. I'm one of the 5 born to my parents. I studied in Munde, actually not Munde, the adjacent village called Elinje, which shares panchayat with the Mahesh's Aikala. And I went to high school in Talipadi, which is near Kinnigoli and Katil. I did my MBBS and MD from Manipal. I did my nephrology training in Bombay, then in University of Toronto in Canada. Then did more training in Detroit, Michigan at the Henry Ford Hospital. But we have been living in Dallas for the last 21 years. I'm a kidney specialist. And I have some additional training in peritoneal dialysis. which is one kind of dialysis. Many people have influenced my life, starting from my grandmother, maternal grandmother, who knew to give when she didn't have anything to give. She would take something from one person and give it to the other person. And she used to be very helpful to people in the village. She would, if a man dies, she would go to their house and invite herself and stay there and cook for the family till the Kriya is done. And I learned to tell the truth from my father. Father is from Nirekonkebail, which is in Bailur. And he had no tolerance for lying and gambling. So that's what I got from him. However, children, we all are, we have learned to take a little bit more risk than my father took in life. And thankfully, we have done well. And my mom is a very compulsive hard worker. And that came to all her children. My mentors, I've had some very good teachers in school, medical school, and in Toronto. I had a Greek Canadian mentor in Toronto, Canada, Dr. Ariopoulos, and he was just the perfect human being I have ever met in my life. He was a very well-known figure in the field, yet he was very humble. He was the editor of a journal called Humane Medicine. So I think I learned a lot from him about compassionate delivery of medical care, end-of-life care, and just to be a good human being. But most important thing he taught is that you can be successful and still very humble. And that's what he was. Then in 2002, we moved to Dallas. In 2004, I had rectal cancer at the age of 41. And we will talk about my journey since then. But a few years ago, I was meeting some leaders in my dialysis field. And one of my colleagues introduced me as an expert in peritoneal dialysis. It just kind of occurred to me because for some reason, I take surviving cancer as my identity, and that still is, and I hope to touch few lives and help some people with the help of my book and my discussion. So that is in brief about me. Thank you.
That's perfect stage, Anup. Now, as you said, your book, right? It looks like even the topic, the title itself, fascinating title, The Power of Infinity. Can you give us some overall summary of the book? Then we can get a little bit deep into that.
Sure. So book has 3 parts. One part is about surviving cancer. And the second part is about preventing cancer, because I strongly feel that most of the cancers are preventable. And the third part is about infinity, as to what is infinity, how infinity is you and me, and how to unveil that in this life. So that is in brief about the book. Now, depending upon the audience, I sometimes focus on surviving cancer. It has a lot to do with problem solving, leadership, life in general. If I'm addressing a medical crowd, I especially addressing lifestyle medicine, then I talk more about cancer prevention. And the third part, infinity, is applicable to everybody. It can be spiritual, non-spiritual. It can be about leadership. It can be about problem solving. So the infinite is applicable to all of us.
Yeah, agreed. So now the topic itself, what is infinity? Sometimes when we talk about infinity, we think about mathematics, right? So can you give us some more insight into what you're saying about infinity?
Sure. I will. First of all, infinity is not a number. I was talking to a friend of mine who has a PhD in some part of mathematics, and he was the first one who told me that infinity is not a number; it's a concept. Okay. Now, how is infinity applicable to us? Infinity is you and me. I'll give you an example. Okay. This is a pen. This is a cell phone, right? So this is my cell phone. So whenever I say something is mine, it's not me. So cell phone, it's easy for me to say that I'm not the cell phone, right? But the most important thing to know is that what is mine is not me, right? Now this is my body, my head, my body. By the same analogy, what is mine cannot be me. So my body is not me. Let me go to next level, my mind. Okay, my mind that helps me think and make decisions. Again, mind is it's my mind. So what is mine cannot be me, so I'm not the mind. And then we go to intellect. Intellect is again, it's my intellect. Mind is telling me eat jalebi, and intellect is saying jalebi is not good for me, right? Again, it's my intellect, and what is mine cannot be me. So I'm not the intellect. So I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm not the intellect. So then who am I? So what is witnessing my body, my mind, my intellect? That is the infinite self. It's there is a Sikh prayer on Ik Onkar. It actually summarized the meaning of infinity. It is the fearless me. It's the all compassionate me. It's the one that never dies. So it kind of transcends time, space, and object. So that is the infinity. So that's all powerful.
Yeah, I think this is what is needed in this crazy environment we live in. I think that's what we need to get more deep into that. But then look at your book, right? Chapter 12, I think that's what you're saying in one place. You get one chance to make the right decision, hence to do it the right the very first time. That may be capturing the essence, I guess.
Yeah, that is the That is the mantra behind surviving a big obstacle in life. So, I draw parallel between surviving cancer with World Cup cricket. Most of people from my my age group, if you were following cricket in the 80s, we all have heard about Kapil Dev winning the World Cup.
Mhm.
And it was not expected out of him, but he kind of led from front and won it for all of us. So a lot of times we only get one chance to do well. It's not just solving problems, it's even helping somebody. Many times you only get one chance to help somebody. If somebody needs help getting their kid married, and if you don't help them after that, they may not need your help. If somebody is sick and they need your help, if you don't help them at that time, after that they may never need your help. So it's not just it's not only that it's a one time event, it's an opportunity. Helping somebody is also an opportunity. If you miss it, then you miss it for good.
So well said. I think so. On that survival note, Anup, so tell us a little bit about how you found strength during your health challenges. What lessons from that period have carried forward into your life today?
Yeah, the one of the things that I learned at an early age is one of the shlokas from Bhagavad Gita, from the second chapter. You all may have heard about Karmanya Vadikaraste
Yeah.
Mafalesh Kadachana. It's a very important shloka that applies in our lives. It talks about there, Bhagavan Krishna says, your duty is only to do karma and not to be attached to the phala, the fruit of action. And then end of that sloka, he says, don't give attachment to inaction. So he's not saying don't do karma. He's not even saying don't expect result. He's just saying that don't be attached to the result. And then he concludes the sloka by saying that don't give attachment to inaction. So be active, do your best. Then in the subsequent sloka, he says, use all your skill. What does that mean? That means do your best. Do your best. Don't be attached to the fruits of action. Get busy in karma. And to me, I didn't think of outcome. I just got busy in doing my best. And going back to, you get one chance. Being a physician, I knew that surgeons don't like to reoperate on people. I also knew that chemotherapy doesn't work when first line of chemotherapy doesn't work. Second line doesn't work well. And so I wanted to go to the best place in the world to get my care. Thankfully, we are not that far from MD Anderson in Houston. That's probably the best place in the world to get cancer care. And I was fortunate to have my sister and brother-in-law live in Houston, so that made it a little bit easier. But again, World Cup played around me. Then my brother Ashok, who came from India, he said again, this is like game of cricket. Anup, you be the captain, we'll play for you, and you build a team. So I built the best team that I could make, and Health insurance pays for second opinion. I was lucky I had health insurance. And cost of care actually, if anything, is a little bit less in these centers of excellence in the world. So it doesn't cost any more than it would if I were to go to a smaller hospital. And I also knew from my experience in Toronto, which is a center of excellence for peritoneal dialysis, I knew that I could do things in Toronto that I could not do elsewhere. So I know that from first-hand experience, the centers of excellence do things a little bit differently. And they're usually ahead of others. So it makes a difference going to a center of excellence. It makes a lot of difference building the best team you can build to get the best care you can get.
I think it's so true. Having a right circle and the team is so important. I think another fascinating thing I saw in your book, you talk about your Malana. I think is that Ashok you're talking about, right? So
Yeah, Kishore, Malana is Kishore.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but so who is what is that? Putting the house for the temple. It's fascinating. You want to share something on that? That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Way people. Yeah.
So my Malana, he, growing up, we were not rich. We were from big families, so everybody thought we were rich. But we were not. So Malana came at a young age to Bombay. He worked while going to school, and he went to college. Then he bought his own. He did well, eventually, but he did a lot of things that any father would do to me, and he was again a copy of my grandma. He knew how to give when he didn't have anything, and so he built this temple in Nerul, near Bombay, Ayappa temple, and he actually mortgaged his own house. Unfortunately, Malana passed a few years ago from a heart ailment, and more recently, one Mr. Suresh Shetty, who was the president of that temple at that time, they released our flat, but Malana took to that degree of mortgaging his own house. So that's him.
Yeah. You talk about all what is the service leadership, servant leadership, and all the things, but being selflessness so deep into that. I don't want to you be emotional, Anup. So sometimes getting into these topics. Now, Can you tell us a little bit about anti-cancer lifestyle and some connections to Ayurveda and nutrition? Is cancer preventable?
Sure. Let me share. Do you see the slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're seeing the first slide. Yeah.
Okay. So now you see the cancer prevention slide?
Yeah, I can see that.
So to simplify why people get sick, one thing is, and if anybody gets sick, they get sick for a reason. Okay, whether we know it or not, something went wrong somewhere. So you can put all the diseases under two problems. One problem where you get too many cells, another problem where cells die earlier than they should. Okay, so cancer is a disease where too many cells multiply. So they kind of run crazy and they just keep multiplying. So whether it is cell death or cell multiplication, it has to have a stimulus. And that stimulus comes from one of the 5 elements that Ayurveda describes. So earth, water, air, fire, and ether. So if you really see, even our body consists of those same 5 elements. Earth is anything solid, okay? Within the body, it's body tissues, the solid tissues. Outside the body, that body consumes is food. And water element is liquids we consume. Liquid can be water, soda, alcohol, anything, some good, some bad. And we have body liquids also. Then the air could be healthy air or smoking, that one should not do. And there is air in the body as well. The fire comes from fire as fire, heat, exercise, yoga, meditation. And within the body, we have digestive fire, we have the thyroid, we have the adrenal glands, hypothalamus, some, few of the centers in the brain. And the ether is the space that we surround ourselves with, the company we keep. And in the body, there are the genes, the cells, the space that they cover. Okay? So for one to get sick, there needs to be imbalance in these 5 elements. In Sanskrit, they're called panchadhatus. So anything, either any one of things or more than one thing makes us sick. So pretty much most diseases can be traced to the food we consume, liquids we drink, air that we breathe, the stress that we go through or expose ourselves to, and the company we keep. So in other words, if you normalize, if you make them healthy, if you eat healthy food, if you drink healthy water and avoid unnecessary things, alcohol, color, sugars, then breathe healthy air and not smoke, and being stress-free is not easy, but do your best, do exercise, do some yoga and meditation, just commit to be happy, and then be in good company. Over years, this will give us good health. So over years, these are the 5 elements that determine our health. Only thing is, we can't get up one day and say, I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to be healthy tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. It takes years for a person to get cancer. Unlike what we think that it's very rapidly growing, cancer takes many, many years to manifest. But that's the case with most of the other problems too. We see people drop dead from heart attack, but problem didn't start that day. Problem started 10, 20 years before that. So you need to practice these over a long period of time, over many, many years. There is a aphorism in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali which says you need to practice something for Dirgha Kala Nairantarya with Satkara. That means long period of time on a regular basis with respect to what you're doing, with respect to what you're practicing. So that's what we need to do to be healthy. So that is the connection between Ayurveda and Yoga Sutras and spirituality to our life, to a healthy life.
So in your book, I think chapter 7, where you say influencing the 5 elements. So basically meat and eggs and sugars and sweeteners, excess salt. I think those are all some of the suggestions you provided. Great suggestion. On top of that, what you said is so true, especially creating a stress or removing stress from your life. It's difficult, it's not possible, but plus maybe creating that type of environment and commit to be happy. I think that is some more. So last week I was watching this Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, 90, I think 98 or 92-year-olds, eating all candies and speaking like 60, 70-year-old. Is fascinating. I think at the end of the day, more than what the investors, their lifestyle, to your point, trying to be, what is it, stress-free life plus commit to be happy. So I think true. I think this to follow these things is not easy, but I think if we commit ourselves, to your point, to be happy, it may help. So what is this, Anup? What is the one you are showing now?
So there is description of Buddha's second arrow. So
Okay.
this is applicable to how to be happy, happy, and how also to solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two arrows. One is the inevitable arrow. That's the problem that we initially may not have control over. But the second arrow is the worst. And that is how you respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We all have reasons to be happy. We all have reasons to be unhappy. It's up to us to choose what we want to choose. It's desire sometimes and a lot of times is the source of unhappiness, because anything finite cannot give you permanent happiness. It's like, wanting to be rich, wanting to have more money, because when you have more money, you will find people with more money than you. When you drive an expensive car, you will find more expensive cars around you. So there's no end to it. So the way to be happy is to be happy without any conditions. Just like how kids are. Kids are always happy. And I want to show this picture. Actually, those are my children now. They're not children anymore, but they are to me. Uh, if you notice, children are always happy. Children cry for a reason. Okay, when a little kid cries, we check if their diaper is soiled, we check if they're hungry, or we check if they're hurting somewhere. When they're smiling, we don't question why they're smiling, right? Do we? For some reason, when we grow up, we look for happiness. So that paradigm has to be reset. So happiness is not something we have to go looking for. Happiness is something that is inherently us, inherently within us. So all we have to do is to be yourself. And so it's not hard to be happy. It's just that we have to reset ourselves and realize that we are inherently born to be happy. So that is what I mean by being unconditionally happy. I of course have my dogs, and dogs are like kids again. They're always happy. They're unconditionally happy and loyal. So now we have other tools to remind ourselves to be happy, which is yoga and meditation, exercise. You can sing, you can dance, you can laugh, you can pray. Those are all some tools again to reset the button to be happy.
Yeah. So when hearing this, Anup, again, I know you are deeply religious and spiritual. How this shaped or helped you, or you can talk about relevance of religion and life.
Sure. So generally the most religions of the world, they follow one of the few pathways. Okay, the most institutionalized pathway is, path of bhakti, path of devotion, path of love. That is, I surrender to God. God is here and I'm here, and sometimes I worship for things. Sometimes all I do is to worship God to be with me. So I'm not seeking any favors, but I'm just asking God to be with me. Okay, which is okay, and that's how most religions of the world do. Not just Hinduism. All the Western religions, their main path is path of love, path of devotion. Then there is a path of experience, self-experiential path. That is path of yoga, path of some mystic experience. But it's a path that one experiences oneself. So you can't say it's not there. It is there because you experienced it. On the other hand, in path of bhakti, path of devotion, one, you're believing that God exists, but a lot of times you are expecting God after death. You're expecting to go to ask God to take me there. And then, you may have heard when somebody dies, they say, he's with the man up there. He's in a good place. But, where is that up there? Why not here? I want God here, right? So that third path gives you access to that God here. That is a path of non-duality, monism, or Advaita. So which teaches that, that infinity is right within you. Like you are the wave and Brahman is the ocean. But both wave and the ocean have the same water. So that is very powerful, very healing, because when God is, when I am an element of God, when I am element of that infinity, I have nothing to fear about. And you can go to the extent that cancer doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my body. You can disown the pain, disown the suffering. So it's very powerful, and I really found a lot of solace in that. Having said that, pain hurts. When it's hurting, I can't say it's not my body. But, I tried. But nevertheless, this is very empowering and very, very healing. So, and this is nobody can question that, the logic that, I have that power. And it's a experience that you have to experience in this life. So God is available to me today, right now, in this world. So even the atheists, they can't question that. The greatest atheists in NYU, they don't question Advaita Vedanta. They question all the other faiths, all the other paths of religion. But this is one thing they cannot question, because it's right here, right now. So for me, it was very empowering. And I think for all of us, when we realize that infinite power is right in you, you don't have to worry about it. But if you really see, it's already being practiced. If you go and listen to what coaches say in the games, what do they say? They say, go and express yourself. Be yourself. And that is infinity that we are talking about. Okay? So you don't even have to call it spiritual. It's real.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing is sometimes we may not realize even our forefathers what they were following. There was some reason, like even people used to do Monday fasting to Saturday. Some 1 month in the year they used to do, whole families to do Saturday fasting. Now again, coming back to a lot of people are suggesting fasting as a to control sugar and all other thing, other diseases as well. So there are a lot of things we can take back from our uh, ancestors as well, what they were doing. Now, um, again, I think I see there is a talk about Om in your book. So go ahead. You have something to share here, or I wanted to know the vibrations from Om, what you put in the book. I want to understand that more.
Yeah. So Om is infinity. So Om is described in actually one of the Upanishads called Mandukya Upanishad talks only about Om, but there are other Upanishads which quote Om as well. Om is also the main prayer of Sikhs, but the meaning of Om is more important to understand, and that is what I said earlier. It says it's one without a second. It's nirvair. Nirvair means no vaira, no enemies. It's all loving, all compassionate. It's nirbhav. It's fearless. And it transcends birth and death. So it never dies. It's always there.
Yeah.
It transcends wake, dream, and sleep states. So that is Om 101 in 1 minute. There is a lot written about it, but that is the actual meaning of Om. So Ma. So stands for wake state, U stands for dream state, Ma stands for sleep state, and the silence that follows chanting Om, that gives you access to the infinity. So you chant, to make everything simple, all you do is chant Om maybe 21 times every day. After some time, especially once you know the meaning of Om, you'll get to that experience. And we all have access to that. So that is Om. That is infinity.
Thank you. Maybe, so let us see whether anybody has any question. Before that, one concluding thought you can provide, Anup, is, so again, when we come from India, here we'll go through different stages of, what is that, getting absorbed here. I mean, when you go through the different stages. And can you, based on your experience, what advice would you give young families trying to build roots in the US? Do you have any, based on your experience and life lessons, what advice you want to give?
Yeah, I have a handwritten slide. I hope you all can see this. So our goals in life changes depending upon what phase of life we are in. So in Hindu faith,
sorry to interrupt. Maybe you want to do a slideshow. That'll help.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Is that better?
Yeah.
It's still handwritten and not very sophisticated.
But we can scale it up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anup.
So there are 4 goals in life. They are popularly known as Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, but I rearranged it the way it manifests or way we practice in life, which is Kama, Artha, Dharma, Moksha. Kama means desire. So when we are young, we have, our goal is to just fulfill the desires. Kids want a toy, they want to play, then we go through phase of seeking other desires, bodily desires, and, alcohol, smoking, sex, many, all kinds of wrong desires, um, if not channeled right. And then the next phase goes, is where we try to establish ourselves in life, get good education, get good job, earn good living, take care of family. And then the third phase of life is dharma, where uh, it's righteousness, right? Focus on righteous living, value-based living, and teach others the, good good life lessons, good values in life. And the fourth phase is appreciating that self is divine, and detachment from things that are not important, and learn to be detached from finite things. So what is my advice to younger people? Know your goals in life, and uh, follow the righteous path. Don't take shortcuts to success. Many things in life have to take their own way, their own time, and be in good company. Feel free to take help from people who might know a little bit more or different things from you, and work with people, because teamwork is very important, because as a team you have more skills, more knowledge, and more strength. So those are few things that just don't take shortcuts, and don't take the wrong path, and don't be in hurry in life.
Yeah, and sometimes shortcuts lead to wrong path. It's
Yeah.
important. Even so, thank you, Anup. And anybody has any questions, please bring it up. It's our chance to get any.
Hello Anup, this is
Hi, Sandhya.
Sandhya. I, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to mention that how much respect and admiration I have for Anup and his family, because we were all in Chinmaya when Anup, had the diagnosis, and it was an amazing inspiration to all of us on how he and the whole family and the support system and Mala and all of them handled this, and how it's made all of us stronger. We've also become stronger through him, listening through his wisdom and listening today to everything he has to say. Um, and I feel so blessed that we know him, because just listening to his soothing voice, it's so beautiful. So thank you, Anup.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you for being with me. Thank you.
Any other question? Anybody else? But I think, Anup, on that note, so for me, sometimes it's difficult to believe some physician in the US, successful physician, popular physician in the US, talking about this topic. Okay, talking about Om vibrations, talking about importance of prayer, and it's not. I think you are highly underrated. I think you are a mind doctor in some way to look at it. And thank you for sharing your experience and insight. I think we may need to have some sessions for individual topics as well. You, I think last week you had organized some other session, right? Yoga or some other. Can you share some information on those things, the activity you're trying to do?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I'm active among the physicians community here. So we have a association of Indian doctors of Indian origin called Texas Indo-American Physician Society. We are in Northeast chapter. So we had a wellness symposium that I was the course director for, and we had 8 speakers, 4 external speakers and 4 from here, DFW. So we had a speaker from Harvard, we had one from University of Florida, then we had one from Kaiser Permanente and one from Tucson, Arizona. So we had discussion about eating healthy. We had discussion about breathing practice, pranayamas. We had discussion about cancer screening. And then I also was one of the speakers. But most interestingly, we had a speaker on sleep. We don't talk enough about sleep, and adequate sleep is extremely important. And he was recommending that we sleep 7 to 9 hours every day and sleep well. He also talked about naps, that it is okay to take naps, but he reminded us that naps have to be naps and not long sleep. But he also said that naps should be a second option. In other words, good long sleep is more important and better. He said it is okay to catch up, but it is easier to catch up on a weekly basis than yearly basis. So in other words, it's hard to catch up, 40 hours of missed sleep, then and it's easier to catch up 1 or 2 hours of missed sleep. So do some catch up sleep during the weekend or whenever you have time, but don't deprive yourself of sleep for months together. That was his message, and that was very very useful. And one good thing that happens from conducting these sessions is we get to learn and we get to practice ourselves. So that is in brief about the lifestyle symposium, wellness symposium that we had last week, and we're hoping to be able to upload them in YouTube in the near future and make it available to everybody. So we had about 200 doctors. We collaborated with the Dallas County Medical Society, and it was a good experience. Thank you.
So Srini was asking on a question thing. Do you believe diseases are linked with people's karmas?
I think I do. Now, it's karma is nothing but cause and effect. So, most of the Eastern faiths, all the faiths that came from India, even the Chinese, we all believe in rebirths. So sometimes karmas go into next life, but they both help in justifying things sometimes that go wrong in our life, and there also is a book called Why Bad Things Happen to Good People, written by one Harold Kushner. He's a rabbi, and his son was born with some defect, and he passed away in his teens. So this Why Bad Things Happen to Good People is is a discussion that can go on for hours, but karma is one of the things that that is described there. So do I believe in karma? I do, but as a scientist, and we all are, we all have a scientist within us. Karma is nothing but cause and effect, and when something happens, there is always a cause, and it helps exploring why things happen. So yeah, when we don't find something, then we can blame our previous lives.
So thanks, Anup. Do you want, if you want to provide any contact information, you can share that, Anup. Anybody has any questions or if they any follow-up questions down the line? Never know, people may watch this not only from here, India, and everywhere else. Feel free to provide.
Sure. I have this this message that I just made it up. James Bond 007. I tried to make something out of 007 and then built on it. It's a 0 sodas and 0 drinks with sugar or sweeteners, 0 alcohol, 0 smoking, 7 servings of vegetables and fruits per day. I can only get to 7 servings if I have a smoothie with some vegetables and fruits in it, and I do that most days of the week, usually at least 5 days. All working days I do smoothie, and sometimes I do over the weekend. I did today as well. 7 hours or more of exercise per week, that is 1 hour per day. 7 hours or more of yoga, meditation, some recreational reading, singing, dancing, laughing, prayer, of your choice per week. That's again 1 hour per day. And 7 hours or more of sleep per day. And also have some screen-free time every day. Don't look at the computer and your smartphone all your wake time. I know we don't have control over screen time at work. Even physicians, we spend a lot of time looking at the computer. But when you're at home, dedicate at least 1 hour of no screen time per week. So this is my recipe for wellness. And, just be happy. Every little thing counts. So, do a little bit of everything and be in the moment. Just be happy and just be grateful for everything that is going on well in life. Don't complain of things you cannot change, and help people. If you like to pray unconditionally. And that is my book. It's available in Amazon, so feel free to get your copy and write a review for me. And thank you for having me today. And it's nice to see some familiar faces. I think I saw somebody from Mundair, Nadiguttu. So thank you all.
That's nice. So thanks, Anup. Thanks for doing this, and thanks everyone for joining the session today. If you have any questions, let us know. Any follow-up, you can reach out to Anup, or you can reach out to us. Any follow-up questions. Thank you all. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.